Right now, it's my, this is a great program. Right now, it's my honor and privilege to once again thank all the candidates for coming and demonstrate by your attendance here the fact that you think it's important to have God in your daily life and you think prayer is an important thing. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to my good friend, the person who put this important program on. I'll never miss one of his events. Ms. Mary Collins won't let me. But, so let me turn it over to the founder and executive director, one of our community's great leaders, the founder and executive director of this organization, my good friend. I've known his father for many, many years. Yes, Mr. Anthony Verdugo. Anthony.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Can we please close the doors? And we'll turn up the air, don't worry. We're not going to suffocate you in here this morning. I want to thank you all for coming to our 2010 Candidates Forum Victory Breakfast, Miami-Dade's premier Candidates Forum event of 2010. Thank you, thank you. And you've made it that, by the way, you've made it that. A couple of things this morning before we get started. Each candidate will have about 2 minutes to speak. We're going to be calling your names out, so make sure that you're in line and you're paying attention and you're ready to go. We have a lot of candidates. Last count, it's about 35 that are here this morning, which is really incredible. It's such an honor and such a blessing. So, again, thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your support. I want to tell you, I had the privilege to spend the months of March and April up in Tallahassee doing a little what they call lobbying, which is knocking on doors and asking legislators to support our agenda. And I want to share with you 2 agenda items that were actually passed. And one was a resolution, the other one was passed and signed, and then another one that passed the Senate, and hopefully next year we'll pass the House of Representatives that we had a little something to do with. I want to thank, she's not here this morning, but State Representative Anita de Flores, who sponsored the a resolution for the National Parents' Day on July 25th. We'll be honoring the work of parents for the first time throughout Florida. And so she helped us make that happen in the House of Representatives. It was a unanimous vote. We also passed a bill, HB 31, called Protection of School Speech Bill. And let me tell you what this bill was about. Folks, this bill was extremely important because it prohibits, and I want you to listen to this very carefully, and this is the reason we do the work that we do. It prohibits district school boards, administrative personnel, and instructional personnel from taking away the rights or freedoms afforded by the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. Now you might say, well, why is that necessary? Last year, the ACLU of Florida actually initiated a lawsuit against the Santa Rosa County schools and their teachers, and actually threatened to have them arrested and put in jail for saying a simple prayer at a banquet, at a school banquet, at a school function. And as a result of that, it got so bad, and I talked to some of these teachers myself, they were afraid to wear their crosses around their neck or to even have a Bible on their desk. And so, as a result of that threat to our freedoms, the House and Senate both passed HB 31, the Protection of School Speech Bill, so that can never happen again here in the state of Florida. In fact, it was so popular, that bill, that when we sent out an email blast to all of you in the state Senate, because it was having some problems getting passed, the state senators in Tallahassee received 9,000 emails from you. 9,000 emails. So I want to thank you for that. And then a partial victory we had was with the Florida Unborn Victims of Violence Act. It did not pass the House, but it did pass the Senate. And that bill defines the term unborn child for purposes of vehicular homicide. It revises the terminology to refer to unborn child rather than viable fetus. And so that passed the Senate by a 25-11 vote. Next year we will be bringing it back. We're working with Senator Mike Fasano. He's already promised to bring it back and sponsor it in the Senate. We will be lining up a House sponsor, and we should be able to get it through next year. So that was another victory. Thank you so much for your support. You make this possible. It's your victory. I want you to think of this morning as a massive job interview. This is a massive political job fair. It really is. And you all are doing the hiring. And you're going to hear from prospective candidates who want to serve you and who want to serve our community. And I'm honored that all of you have turned out today. In fact, and I got to say this, I've shared it with some people, half of you that are here this morning are here as a result of the fact that you contacted our offices and found out about this event. And then the other half we actually invited. But there are a lot of self-invitations here, and I think that's wonderful. I really do. And we really appreciate the fact that you value voters enough to come out and speak to them this morning. Voters of faith, men and women of faith, pastors and community leaders who represent thousands. And I just want to say this. They say character is defined by what you do when no one else is looking. But you know, character is also defined when everyone is looking and you have to stand alone. And the key to leadership, my friends, is not getting as many votes as you can and getting as high a percentage as you can and just decimating your opponent and getting to that seat. That's a campaign. But leadership really begins when you put yourself out there to serve the public. And the true measure, the true test of leadership is, what are you going to do when everybody else is saying no, yet you know it's the right thing to do? Are you going to stand alone? You're never going to stand alone, truly. Amen. You're never truly going to stand alone. But seemingly, there are times where it'll appear that way, that you're standing alone. And I have seen leadership in action. I've seen it right here in our county with the man who's here this morning, who's already been introduced to you. And I saw him stand alone and fight for what was right in front of my eyes. Nobody told me. And I commended him for it. I thanked him for him privately, and I want to thank him for it publicly as well. And that's Commissioner Jose Pepe Diaz, who fought for our families here in this county. Stood alone. But he was never truly alone. So what I'm asking you to do today is you're going to come and you're going to talk to us perhaps about your faith briefly. You're going to talk to us about your positions on the issues. But the question this morning that you have to ask yourself is, are you going to make the pact? Are you going to make a pact this morning that no matter what, you're going to stand for what's right? Whether it be a pro-life issue, whether it be the marriage issue, whatever it is, are you willing to be a leader and not just another politician? You know, we have seen great men and women who have talked the talk but not been able to walk the walk. And they have ended up in the ash heap and the dustbin of history. And yet we've seen others who have risen to the occasion, great men and women around this world, and they have literally turned the course of history. You are asking us for your trust and your vote, and you're asking us to seat you in the position of power. And I don't care if it's Congress or if it's county court. It doesn't matter. You're in a position of authority. And I tell you, we are watching. We are watching because the buck will stop with you and no one else. The buck stops with you. So please keep that in mind. The scripture tells us, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world only to lose his soul? Okay? So on that note, you're going to hear today from Republicans. You're going to hear from Democrats. You're going to hear from members running for Congress to members running for municipal elections. You're going to hear from individuals from the northeast quadrant of this county all the way down south. Okay? Because our values, universal basic principles of social justice and human rights, which protect marriage and the unborn, which are universal principles that cannot be compromised, are transcendent values that do not belong to one political party or the other. They belong to all of us as members of the human race.